So what is an emotion and where does it come from? And what do we do about it? It's a great question, right? An emotion really could be thought of as nothing more than a feeling that's made it to your mind, that you've intellectualized through judgment of right and wrong. You've made it mean something more than it is beyond a feeling. So a feeling is something that you learned, usually based in fear. Sometimes it can go even lower than that, based in shame or guilt. But most all our emotional reactions that we have up here based on a feeling, that feeling is the feeling of fear. Fear wants to grow. It wants to build itself. And so one way it does that, it gets into the mind. It activates part of our small self's identity about judgment, right and wrong. And that is something that's innate in us because we want to survive. So we have to discern, we've been doing that since we were a little kid, about what's healthy and what's not healthy, what's good and wrong for us to help us survive. But here we are 20, 30, 40 years later still doing the same shit. So when we have this feeling, we don't know what to do with it, so it becomes something in our mind, it becomes this emotion. We have three choices when it gets up to that point. We can either express it, which is often just letting the release valve off. So now it's almost like you did the bidding of this emotion or this feeling and it expressed itself. So now it's out in the world and it causes a reaction out there and it builds on itself, right? And that's not always healthy, although you may feel better momentarily, but you don't exist in a vacuum. So it created other problems. You could also escape from it. This is something that I do when I can't suppress long enough, because suppression is, I'm a good guy. I'm not gonna feel this. I want to act calmly. I want to do that, but the whole time you're just pushing it down. When you can't push it down, you use your run or you express it. So those three things usually show up, and those are all trying to control the feeling. And we can intellectually try to change it up here, but that often just pacifies it. And it can create major shifts. You can have a light bulb and a way of seeing something that truly transforms the way that you operate. But if it does come back, it's because you just cut the weeds off. You didn't get to the root. The iceberg, if you will, melted at the top, but there's a whole big thing underneath, and at some point it's going to build itself back up and it's going to want to be expressed. And the only real way that I understand to know how to really deal with this is to shine a light of awareness on it. What that means is really just allowing yourself to experience the feeling with equanimity, meaning you're being present with it. And the moment you do that, you're going to start thinking. You're going to start intellectualizing again, and that is just another form of resistance. So ways of being present with a feeling is to invite it there. Say, yes, bring it on. Let's go. I'm here. Yeah, bring it on. Give me your best shot. And you're allowing it to be there without trying to change it. You're just accepting, okay, this is it. Almost like a rag doll, like, have your way, go for it. Get it out of your system, really. And doing that can be tough because, again, the thoughts might come up, and that's your distraction. That is your that thing that doesn't want to be seen. It's like, let's get this going again. So it's going to try to do that. One way of keeping your present awareness is using breath work, and something very simple. I teach a bigger, in-depth breath work process, but something that you could do very simply is to count, say, 4 breaths in, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold it out for 4 seconds. So you're counting about every quarter minute, in, hold, out, hold. And while doing that, also keeping your attention on the feeling and doing that deep breath until it dissipates. And you can also say something like, I let this go, or I am surrendering to this feeling, or I'm surrendering this feeling. You just play with something like that, and that creates the cadence of maybe a 4 count in. You could say it on the way out as well, or I surrender this feeling to God Almighty, or whatever it is, to source energy, to the universe, whatever it might be. So being with that feeling allows it to be expressed, and it stops it from becoming an intellectualized emotion that you need to control through expression, escapism, or suppression, which eventually becomes repression. And that will show up, if you repress it long enough, as illness and pain in your body. So thanks for watching. Hope you're having a beautiful day.